Hi folks, this is Jason and hope you're okay today. And I just want to share with you some important things that I think are really important, and I just want to tell you my story. And I hope this story that it will be a lesson to you and help you to think. Um, as you can see there's a picture of Guantanamo Bay. Uh, um, and I would encourage you to read Spengler, The Decline of the West, as a book that that gives some kind of, maybe give you a bit of intellectual thinking about the issue of the decline of the West. Spengler wrote a book which would be interesting to look at and to study. Spengler's book received unfavourable reviews from most interested scholars even before the release of his second volume. Spengler's veering towards right-wing views in the second volume confirmed this reception, and the stream of criticism continues for decades. Nevertheless, in Germany, the book enjoyed pop, having sold 100,000. Spengler's ideas became controversial. One quote: "When the first volume of The Decline of the West appeared in Germany a few years ago, thousands of copies were sold. Cultivated European discourse quickly became Spengler saturated. Spenglerism spurted from the pens of countless disciples. It was an imperative to read Spengler to sympathize or revolt. It still remains so." Spengler was influenced by Nietzsche and Goethe and other philosophers. He had a methodology which can be summed up as follows. Plato and Goethe stand from the philosophy of becoming. Aristotle and Kant, the philosophy of being. Goethe notes and verse must be regarded as the expression of perfectly definite metaphysical doctrine. I would not have a single word changed of this. The Godhead is effective in the living, not in the dead, in the becoming and the changing, not in the become and the set fast, and therefore similarly the reason is concerned only to strive towards the divine through the becoming and the living and the understanding, only to make use of the become and the set fast. Letter to Erckman. This sentence comprises my entire philosophy. That's what Spengler says. So what I'm about to talk to you is not a new subject, it's an old subject. Some great thinkers like Spengler have written on it, and so what I'm about to share with you is going to seem strange, surreal and shocking, and I want you to mirror this video because it's really important. If you believe in the freedom of speech, if you believe in the rights of the individual to have freedom, then you need to pass this video on. And it's a very important video in my own thinking and reflection. Now, as you can see a picture of Guantanamo Bay there's a prime example how democracy is in decline in the West. These people who were in the red there don't have any rights whatsoever. It is out of the jurisdiction of the USA, and yet it is run by United States personnel. That's an infringement of those individual people's democratic rights. That has been done in a democracy and is a stain on the democratic values of America. and of the West for allowing this kind of behavior to go on. We've also seen an infringement of democratic rights because there have been leaks by whistleblowers who have told us that America and the United Kingdom and other nations are spying on their own people. That America and the United Kingdom and other nations are siphoning off all the phone calls, multimedia of individual personal homes and investigating all that information, and they keep a track of everything that comes in and out of a particular country. These are developments that are very worrying, and democracy is in decline. In fact, we're on the verge of democracy. Now, 5 years ago, I had a nervous breakdown, and it was a pretty bad nervous breakdown in the sense that I was on medication for about 2 years. I was a trained minister, having a degree in theology, experienced minister who had encouraged and taught preachers, and I had this breakdown, and when I came on YouTube, I was reading books by Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins. I was listening to lectures by Christopher Hitchens, and I was shocked at the new atheism. It was shocking in its portrayal of religious people. Sam Harris was saying that fundamentalist Christians were dangerous, could be terrorists. Christopher Hitchens was said that religion poisons everything. Richard Dawkins was saying that if you are a Christian and you teach your children six-day creation, that you're almost a paedophile. You're abusing your child. And on top of that, we had these kind of public intellectuals that were being branded about as great intellectuals in the West, who were demonizing religious people and Christians in such a way that it was disgusting, that it was imperiling democracy, because if this kind of demonization was allowed to go on, then the public would take on board to treat Christians in a vile way. On top of these intellectuals, on YouTube and the internet was an army of militant atheists that was systematically bullying Christian apologists off YouTube by investigating their private lives and then bullying these apologists, Christian apologists, off. And it was part of this aggressive militant atheism fueled by the kind of rhetoric of a Hitchens and a Harris and a Dawkins. Now, I was shocked by this. I was utterly, utterly shocked at this demonization. And I was not at my best to enter the fray. I was a broken by depression, and I had all sorts of issues and psychological issues and motives that sometimes were not pure in the mix. But there's one thing that I knew that was very, very clear, and that was this militant atheism was imperiling Western democracy by the demonization and the attack upon Christianity. So I took it upon myself to fight politically this militant atheism. I made video after video, hundreds if not thousands of videos, attacking this militant atheism. Many times I was depressed, many times I had issues in my life, and some of my videos were not very good, really bad. And I deleted them, some of them. Unbeknown to me, these militant atheist groups were saving these videos, and they began to save them. It got to a point where I was beginning to be effective against these militant atheists. I was beginning to push them back. I was beginning to expose them. I was beginning to show the kind of aggressive tactics that they were doing. But unbeknown to me, there was a backlash preparing. The first backlash was the setting up of archive channels without my permission. I'd said that I don't have copyright on my videos, use my videos to promote democracy and to promote Christianity. But it was in no way an endorsement of militant groups, militant atheist groups, to take my videos and then to put them in a way that misrepresents me. But that's what they did. They took my videos and they set up archive channels. And those archive channels got more hits and views than any of my channels. And these archive channels misrepresent my output of what I did. Taking videos that I deleted. I pleaded with these archive channels not to be up, because every time you typed in my name, it would be the archive channels that come up and not my name and not my channels. I even tried to DMCA some of these channels, and the response that I got was threats from these channels. One of these channels in particular made a, and I quote, "You want a war?" That was the quote. And threatened me that if I DMCA'd them, that they would pull any other channels that I had down. Thereby, not only did they take control of my public profile with these archive channels, they also took away my right to control the input of those archive channels. So the backlash came with these archive channels, which effectively took away my freedom of speech in critiquing atheism. Any video that I would make, they immediately put it on their archive channels, and immediately, whenever anybody was typing in my name, the archive channels cascaded my freedom of speech to criticize militant atheism. In one foul swoop, they effectively destroyed my public profile. They took away my freedom of speech in that one area. But it didn't stop there. If that wasn't enough, I'd had a debate with one of the major players, and I won that debate. At Christmas, at the end of 2000, at the beginning of 2014, a large number of atheists and liberals got together and began to, it was in effect a cyberbullying campaign. Say that I plagiarized in a debate, where the original debate, it's the DPR Jones Jason Burns debate. If you go to that debate, all the sources of the debate are under the video for you to see. All the source material is there. And anybody who knows anything about apologetics will know that the first part, who I was using, it didn't need any explanation. But because the atheists were so desperate, especially the militant atheists, to get one on me, they brought all these accusations out, but it was cyberbullying because I didn't have the right to answer back. I wasn't invited on any show. I wasn't given any opportunity to answer at all. So we had New Covenant Group, which is a liberal Christian group that were in alliance with these militant atheists. We had militant atheist groups, all attacking me and all isolating me from the conversation. This utterly crushed me and devastated me, whereby I made a video haranguing not only New Covenant Group, but all the militant atheist groups, and ended up saying one or two things about some militant atheist wife, which I didn't know the full facts. They spun it out of all proportion as if I was attacking that particular individual when I wasn't. My guns were aimed at the militant atheist in general and specific militant atheist men. He spun it out of all proportion, and that led to a backlash where many of these militant atheists wanted to defend the honor of this lady. That led to me getting phone calls of threats to my house, which led me into a deep, deep depression and worrying concerning the threats. So I ended up putting a video up, which I was pretending to. It was not something that I was actually thinking, but I put a video up saying I've killed myself. And I put that video up in the hope that the militant atheist would leave me alone, because the venom and the threats and the abuse that I was getting was so intense I just could not cope with it. Within an hour I realized what a foolish thing I'd done and pulled that video down. But that video was then put on archive channel that they have, a Jason Burns archive channel. And they put that video up, and it gave the people the impression that I had actually committed suicide. One individual, a militant atheist gentleman, a leader amongst the militant atheists, saw the video, commentated under the video, but then sent me an email abusing me and attacking me. But this same individual then decided that it was a wonderful opportunity, because he knew that I was not serious, because I made it clear that I'd pulled the video down and that I was okay. That individual then went and got the police to come and see me the following day, 12 hours after that video. Now, all this would not have happened if it wasn't for the cyberbullying right at the beginning of the groups attacking me and not allowing me to have my say and give my answer. If it weren't for the New Covenant group attacking me, if it weren't for Christopher Mort attacking me, if it weren't for many other militant atheists as well attacking me, and not giving me the opportunity to have said my view, I would not have gone into the whole spiral that those situations happened. So the police came, and then I had to show them the video, and they were shocked to find that the video was not on my channel, that it was on an atheist channel, and they couldn't understand it. And they suggested the best thing to do is stay away from the internet. Now, the point is this, is that we're now moving into a whole different set of problems. The narrative is no longer me having debates and winning them, or me making my silly videos and attacking atheism. The narrative now is moving into a whole different sphere. We've had threats, we've had massive controversy about, oh, Jason's nasty because he said this. We had police coming round, and things just moved into a whole new ball game. And you think that that would have been it, but it gets worse. Unbeknown to me, this particular militant atheist gentleman who saw himself as now some kind of psychiatrist but has no qualifications in psychiatry, then saw fit to contact the police and send a report about my so-called mental illness. And at the same time, then, without me realizing it, I was asked to go and see my doctor. The doctor sent me a letter. And I went to see my doctor, thinking it was a general checkup. And my doctor said to me that I should not make any videos on atheism or I'll be sectioned. And I said, why? She said, didn't you want to commit suicide? I said, no. And I had to explain to them that actually I'm quite famous on the internet and there's a running ideological battle between me and some sections of the atheist community, and that's where all this is coming from. She read a little bit of the report from these police that they got from this individual. The report went something like this. He has too many books in his room. The report also stated, you've declared war on atheism. I had to say to her, well, it's ideological. I have not said I have declared war on atheism. It is ideological war, not physical war. I said, Aronnaru is a famous American atheist. He has declared war on me ideologically. I have not declared war physically, but ideologically. The doctor, I said, but you didn't contact me that you were going to talk to me about this. And the doctor said she did and she hadn't. She also agreed that the police should have contacted me concerning what had happened. I left that room utterly humiliated. 100%. And so shaken up that I was literally, my hands were shaking when I was driving my car home. I actually told my family what had happened, and they were absolutely, couldn't believe it, thought we were living in a Russian state. I have never been to my doctor since, and also will have to change my doctor when I have to go and see a doctor. I will have to get a new doctor because that doctor broke public trust with me by not informing me why she wanted to see me. Now, the militant atheists claim that they are were trying to help me mentally, but as I said, they knew for absolute sure, they were informed why the video was put up at the beginning. Many saw it as an opportunity to anguish and aggravation, because the comments under the video were very psychologically manipulative. If you follow the people who make those comments, they are often very aggressive militant atheists. So then, now we're in new territory. Now there is an individual writing blog posts about my mental illness, but it didn't stop there. There was then show upon show upon show of militant atheist shows where they would literally talk about Jason Burns' mental illness. So now they have my archive channel. They have archive channels where they put the material where they try and make me look a nutcase. Then they have an individual someone's mental illness. And then on top of that, they instigate the person's doctor and police against a person's mental illness, so-called. What all this is doing is actually making me ill. It really, really made me ill. To know that there was an individual writing blog post about mental illness actually gets you depressed. To know that someone is actually going to get your doctor to see you without your permission, or without contacting your family, or without contacting you, is actually makes you quite depressed and ill, because it's an invasion of your privacy. This is to whip up other people to do the same and write things and on the Rational WikiLeaks, they told some of these individuals off, and the Rational Wikipedia, the Rational Wikipedia actually stated that these individuals were cyberbullying, that if there was anything wrong, it's a matter for the police and the medical health professionals. It's not a matter for individual atheists to be writing campaigns against the individual. So the Rational Wikipedia actually reprimanded these individuals for doing that and called them out and said they were cyberbullying. But like I said, it didn't stop there. There was week after week these militant atheist groups talking about the person's mental illness, which my mental illness was maybe depression a little bit, and the fact that that I could be addicted to YouTube, making video after video. But it didn't require police coming around. It didn't require the seeing the doctor without my permission, and it certainly did not require week after week after week shows being made about someone's mental illness, depression, which gave the world and the public a wrong impression of me, because there was many videos on the original archive channel that on the original channel that I had, that shows me as perfectly normal and fine. Just many of the videos were crazy and silly. Some I was a bit down. But in this whole controversy and in this whole situation, because of the bullying, I pulled my channel down, which had 3,000 subscribers. I lost 2,000 of my videos. Many of those videos were scholarly. That archive, my channel, gave you a more rounded view of who I was. You saw the scholarly side, the Bible teaching side, and the crazy side. But because my channel was taken down, you only got the militant atheist perspective, which was all the shows that they talked about Jason is mentally ill, all the shows, all the archive channel, and the blog posts from this individual. You incidentally, prior to that, sent me an email which was quite aggressive and abusive. This individual says that they've explained this away, that he was angry, but at the end of the day, this same individual and all these individuals are disingenuous and dishonest about their slur and their slander about my so-called mental illness. That slander is evident in the fact that the individual who wrote the blog post has been on shows where he will talk about me, has talked about me incessantly. If that person had any true care or honesty for me, they would not, they really genuinely thought I was that bad mentally, then they would have refrained from talking about me on Google Hangout shows. That shows you the disingenuousness. And then all these groups that did these shows where it was talking about my mental illness, these are the same people that organized, whipped up a frenzy of videos, at least 50 to 60 fake debate challenges. These are the individuals who did a reenactment society and took the mick out of me with 15, 20 people involved in it. These are the individuals as well, some of them, who had a show where they literally got drunk while playing my videos and taking the mick. These are the individuals who inspired one individual to come into Manchester and to film me. And in the most aggressive manner I could ever imagine, specifically tried to cause a mental breakdown. If you look at the original video of this individual, he mentions the archive channel a number of times, and he knows that that causes me a lot of mental anguish, and he mentioned this quite a few times. And the language that he was trying to use, he was trying to make me snap and break on camera so he could get it. But actually, what happened, this individual, militant atheist, actually inspired another atheist, unwittingly inspired another atheist to come and attack me. Because the individual came right up to my face, and on the camera you don't actually see the aggression, and as he backed away, he actually threw a threat and said, "I will punch you." So these people who have talked about Jason is mentally ill for weeks and weeks and weeks did and inspired other shows that contradict what they were saying. To talk about weeks and weeks, oh, Jason's mentally ill, and then have a drinking fest where you're getting drunk and then mocking the person is not showing that he's not being genuine about what you were saying. To talk about Jason's mental illness and then encourage someone to go into Manchester and film them and throw all accusations out and be aggressive towards them, inspire the public to be aggressive and nearly punch the person, is not showing that you genuinely care about the mental illness. And the individual, and to film me, is the same individual as well, also, who talked about Jason is mentally unbalanced, and yet it's the same person who goes into town and does a stunt like that could have sent someone off the rails if they were mentally ill. So again, that same person shows their disingenuous, their dishonesty. So basically, I'm just tackling the mental illness issue that the militant atheists concentrated for weeks and weeks on this issue. They put public profile videos up. They put my archive channels up, knowing that a lot of them are crazy videos, and you don't get the full force of them and the balance unless you have the scholarly videos. I'd taken my main channel down, that was a few months ago, called Atheist Examined. Lost my subscribers, lost my videos and everything. They'd made me look some kind of nasty person because they hyped up the controversy about this individual female. They'd done all this talking about my mental illness, which is just depression, and I get down sometimes. And, a bit addictive to YouTube at times. And exploited that for their own propaganda purposes to try and silence the fact that I was calling militant atheism out for the anti-democratic process that they have been doing. Over the last few years, many Christian apologists have left YouTube because of these groups. And I was calling these groups out, and they didn't like it, and they'd prepared the ground. So now we're in the realm of, we're not talking about militant atheism. In the realm, Jason's voice has been taken away because we've got these archive channels now that are being controlled by the atheists. Jason's main channel has gone, and Jason now is bogged down because all we're doing is talking about his so-called mental illness and making him look a nutter. But they were contradicting themselves because they were doing things on their shows that showed that they didn't care, that they were taking the mick. There was one show where one individual atheist said, "Please stop them." Another atheist also went on and said, "Please stop your bullying," and he was kicked off the show. Another atheist went on and said, "Look, it's just not on." And I don't think he meant this, but he said Jason could end up hurting someone, killing someone, because you're trying to push him over the edge. I don't think this individual meant to say that, really. But they were trying to help. They did see that these individuals were pushing me to the brink with their incessant attack and incessant bullying with their shows, week after week after week. Then another individual in their camp, militant atheist camp, makes an accusation because I got involved in helping an individual apologist. I didn't know this apologist, but I did feel and still do that this individual was being treated badly by these militant atheists, and so I took it upon myself to defend this person. And next thing you know, I'm being accused of the most horrendous accusation that has no evidence whatsoever. There's been no such evidence provided. If I'd have made the accusation, but I was accused of certain things and no evidence was provided. And that accusation would be enough to turn anyone insane. But the militant atheists get away with it. These individuals then, when they do these kind of things, revert back to, they'll get Christians on their show and they'll then start talking about philosophy, and everybody's looking on and thinks, oh, these are all right, these atheists, they're really nice. But they've not seen the shenanigans and the backroom deals and the backroom stuff that they've been doing. Completely destroying someone's public character with accusations that are just beyond the Richter scale of accusations. The individual who came on their bike into Manchester throwing up accusations about non-stamp collector and Iron Ra, and completely misrepresenting the facts in public, presenting other accusations in public that he provided no evidence with, but made those accusations in public, which inspired an individual to nearly hit me and punch me. All this in the end was enough to break any person, to really send someone over the hill. And again, that comes back to the hypocrisy of these groups. So we moved from Jason attacking the militant atheists, and now we're into this. It sounds horrendous. It sounds horrible. But that's what you get if you speak out against militant atheism. This is what you get. After the gentleman came down into Manchester on his bike, I was literally, for a whole day, nearly in tears. At 1 o'clock in the evening, I found it hard to hold back the tears. I'd already had a difficult time since Christmas with my auntie going into hospital. I also had last week, a week before, my mum have a heart attack. I even told the individual to leave me alone because of that. So I'd had enough stress for a lifetime. So when I went to bed that following night, I was literally nearly in tears. I was nearly in tears. It had virtually nearly broken me. A couple of days later, I thought, I've had some nut job writing blogs about mental illness when they've not got any qualifications to do so. I've had the atheist and liberal Christian community gang up on me, accusing me without giving me the right to defend myself. I've had accusations thrown out that no evidence has been provided. I've been demonized as making Nazi salutes and all sorts of things, which, if you know me, I am not in any way far right whatsoever, nor would I ever imply I would not attack an individual who was really ill. And so when you've had all this, and I believe in free speech and will not have an archive channel against anybody else, when you've had all this done to you, you realise that enough's enough. And so my war, ideological war against militant atheism, had to stop. And so a few days later, after the gentleman came into town, the atheist fundamentalist, who's now trying to present himself as some kind of cultural intellectual, but make no, was off the Richter scale for stupidity, madness, and militant atheism. But a few days after that event, I decided to pull down my main channel again, Atheist Examined. I pulled it down first time, I lost my 3,000 subscribers, my 2,000 videos. I put it up again. I put a new 500 videos on. A lot of it was about cyberbullying near the end, about 8 or 10 videos. And on top of that, most of my shows that I did were often ambushed by these militant atheists, where they jumped on the shows without me actually asking them to come on. And with all this, I decided to pull down again my channel. And with that, I'm now not engaged in any way against militant atheism. I've not been able to go in my own city centre to freely preach because I was so shaken up by this individual's action. It literally shook me up, mentally and physically. When you've had someone threaten you like I did on that day, and when you had some individual, you don't get the full weight of the individual, but the individual on the bike was extremely aggressive that day. You do not get the full weight because he's not on the camera. You just see me. You don't see the aggression coming from that individual as clearly. There have been videos made by a Muslim of that time, and I think you might get some indication of the individual perspective. So have a look around for the videos. So after all that, police coming round, doctor, my mum, my auntie not being well, my mum having a heart attack, all these shows about your mental illness, and then they're just completely being dishonest about it, and not being nice and contradicting themselves, false accusations, and then all this stuff where it happened in Manchester. I decided to pull down my Atheist Examined channel and decided that I'm not going to make any videos on atheism, militant atheism again. By doing that, I win. By doing that, I show the fact that I could not go in my town city centre, the fact that I have no channel anymore that gives my opinion. All we have is these archive channels that they have, but we don't have a full channel on atheism by me where I'm exercising my voice against militant atheism. Proves to me, and should prove to you, that I win the debate on militant atheism. I constantly ask these atheists for academic debate, and it was like literally trying to get blood out of a stone. Because I wanted primarily to discourse and debate. And it was very hard to get them to debate and discuss. They were very happy to jump you on a Google Hangout 10 against 1. They were very happy to gang up on you on a show and talk about your mental illness, but they were not happy about debating. in historical Jesus studies, and they were not willing to engage in debates. Those atheists that tried to and realized that I knew my stuff soon disappeared. There was a time when I used to get a lot of Skype calls from Thunderfoot and Iron Rat and DPR Jones. But the moment they realized that actually I'm not an idiot, actually I do know my stuff on historical Jesus studies, they soon disappeared. But they used to ring me a lot on Skype. So it was very difficult to get them to engage in academic debate. So in the end, I pulled down my channel because I thought, well, they're not willing to debate me. There was one or two that came forward, such as John McDropout, and Deconverted Man wanted to talk about Logi. There was a couple that near the end were willing to come forward. But many sent me these stupid debate challenges. And it was clear that the atheist community generally that were influenced by these atheist fundamentalists were not really willing to engage in academic debate. There was also a number of atheists that were not happy with the way these militant atheists are conducting themselves. And behind the scenes, there were times where some famous atheists, some of them fundamentalist atheists, militant atheists, but not in the same league as these other groups, who were a bit more circumspect and a little bit more cultured, did privately. And sometimes these groups would cool off, sometimes but they had a golden goose, and the golden goose was these archive channels, and it was a wonderful opportunity to continue the attack and have a laugh at the expense of a Christian apologist. So these other atheists that were very famous, who spoke to these militant atheists, were not listened to as much as they should have been listened to. The top and bottom of it is I haven't got free speech anymore. I am frightened at the moment to go into Manchester for fear of any reprisals. And I have taken down my... I don't want to ever... emotional abuse and attack that was done to me on Saturday. That day the atheist came. I never want to experience that again. It was beyond normal. Even the Muslims said, this is crazy. Even the Muslims said that. There was a Muslim who actually filmed a little bit of it, and even the Muslim said, this is crazy. It was unbelievably crazy from the atheist end. It was just madness what this atheist did. I could have been killed on that day, because that person was throwing accusations out that an individual could have assaulted me and killed me. The kind of accusations that you throw out, that this individual threw out, could have been taken by someone in the public, and that could have killed. It was absolutely irresponsible and crazy. So I took my Atheist Examine video down, and I felt so much happier and better because I felt I'm not being abused anymore. Because being abused by these groups did make me, it put a horrendous pressure on me. It really, really did. I really was nearly, after that visit with the bike, I was nearly cracking up. Like I said, on the night, I was in tears. Well, I was holding back the tears because I was so shaken up. And so a couple of days later, I took I took my Atheist Examine channel down, and I thought, well, they can't now attack me the way they used to do, because I am not going to be attacking militant atheism. They can't stop me from preaching the Word of God. They can't stop me from teaching the Bible. But all I'm saying is, my freedom to be able to critique militant atheism is effectively now gone. I don't have a channel anymore to be able to say my point of view, to present my public profile the way I want to, as I used to. It's all gone. The public profile that you see now is principally what the atheists have got, these archive channels. I have other channels, but they in no way have the same influence in terms of my public profile as these archive channels. So my free speech is effectively gone in that area. Now, these individuals are very clever and very crafty. The individual who's been blogging about my mental illness is very, very, very clever, very, very crafty, and will present it as, oh, I was trying to help the individual. The person who came into Manchester is very clever, very crafty, will present it as, oh, I was exposing this liar or whatever. Some of the individuals with the false accusations and all the rest of it, very, very clever, and will do shows as if they're some kind of balanced intellectual, having interviews with people and talk about philosophy. And everybody will look at that and say, well, Jay, I don't know if we believe you or not. Because these people are very, very... Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Whose side do you get to see? Whose voice are you getting to hear? Because my channel that I had, Atheist Examined, is gone. It's gone. My voice is gone. The only voice that you now have about militant atheism is the atheist voice, and the way they have my videos, the way they've manipulated those videos without giving them the correct context, without my permission. They don't have my permission whatsoever to have those videos. It is my express wish that the atheists pull down the 3 archive channels that they have. But it's their voice, that they are in control of and that they propagate about me. Now that is a direct attack on freedom of speech and democracy. I might have said underhanded things sometimes and hard things against atheists and atheism. And I want it on record that I was never attacking atheism generally. My beef when I was on the internet was militant atheism. This militant atheism that will take away people's freedom of speech. And we've seen that recently. I can't go into my own city, and I've taken down my atheist channel. So that's an infringement of my rights, my freedom, by these groups, who then try and switch it and play the emotional game of, oh, well, the guy's meant to phone the police, therefore, he can't say anything about atheism. These are the same people that will have a show the following week where they're mocking and taking the mick out of me. So it's completely disingenuous and dishonest tactic. So at the end of the day, I'm happy that I'm not involved anymore. I think that I did my spin. I said what I had to say. I'm much happier now staying away from these kind of groups. I have been contacted by more friendlier atheist groups who do want me to talk to them. And after I've had a long break of a few weeks or even a month from atheists generally, I will take and I will look forward to coming back and talking with these atheist groups who do want a conversation and don't advocate the kind of tactics that some of these atheists have done. So I really, really appreciate that, and I look forward to meeting these atheists, and I look forward to engaging with them. But I am so glad now that I'm not engaged in taking on militant atheism, because they nearly destroyed me mentally with the abuse. And I'm glad I'm out of it. I'm glad I'm not involved in it anymore. And also, I need a break from YouTube. I have been on for a long time. So, you know, I look forward to that break. I've not been involved with these groups, militant groups, again, or plan to in any way, and I feel so much happier and so much better. But the point is that I did try to tackle the militant atheist, and in the end I lost my own freedom of speech. And to me, that's a symptom of our Western democracy, that there are groups like this, subversive groups, that can operate in this way, sophisticatedly, very clever, completely decimate and destroy someone's public character. And if people can do that within a democracy, it shows you how weak democracy is. If any atheist out there can get these archive channels shut down, then I would be very grateful if you did get them shut down, because I don't mind atheists having an archive channel, but if they consult with me and work with me, and that every video that they have is in context. I don't mind them having an archive channel if they consult with me and talk with me, and that my side of things is fairly represented, and that I'm fairly represented, and the individuals who are running those channels are responsible people. But it is my public request, and I request this from the police. I request it from the police in America and the United Kingdom. I request it from politicians, and I request it from the atheist leadership of all the shows on the internet. It is my request that those archive channels be taken down. It is my request, because they have taken away my freedom of speech, because I'm not allowed to mention anything about it. This kind of abuse, and this abuse comes from these groups that feed off and work with these archive channels. And you have a responsibility as an atheist community to call out cyberbullying. You have a responsibility to say to the individual who's been writing blogs about me to stop it, that they are not qualified, that Jason has friends in the atheist community, and if he's got mental issues, they can go and talk to him. And if there's any issue in my life, Ozzy and one or two other people, atheists, know me, and they have, if they want to talk to me, they can do. But no atheist has a right to write blogs about my mental illness unless they are qualified. I get depressed sometimes. No atheist has a right to do that. The atheist community should speak out against this individual and tell them to stop it. The atheist community should speak out against this individual who came into Manchester on a bike. I could have been severely damaged physically on that day. This individual is lucky that I've not pressed charges against him. I wouldn't do that because I don't agree with doing things like that. I don't want to cause anybody else any problems. But the individual who came on a bike in Manchester broke the law on a number of occasions. And that individual was extremely irresponsible. That individual should be told that. And it should not go unnoticed by people on the internet from the atheist side, that behaviour was irreprehensible and irresponsible. The individual who's made the accusation that one of their family members, a child, has been hurt because of me, that individual needs to apologise, or at least needs to provide evidence. You can't make those accusations and then allow those accusations to be put in the public domain, because if you're doing that, then you're going to lead to me being harmed, you're going to lead to me being assaulted because of the accusations that you've made, and it's irresponsible of you to do so. And because of those accusations, and because of what happened on Saturday, I am not able to go into my city centre at the present time. So that is taken away my freedom of speech. So the atheist community online have a big responsibility to show that they are committed to democracy. I am committed to democracy because I could have taken this atheist to court for what they did. But I'm not going to do that because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in persecuting individual people. I don't believe in getting one up on people like that. But that individual took away my freedom of speech in Manchester. I will go back in Manchester, but it will be a long time before I get the confidence to be able to go back. But the atheist community have a big responsibility to stand up for democracy. And you have a big responsibility to stand up and say enough's enough. That for whatever faults Jason Burns has, he has a right to go to his city centre and preach without being harassed. If you want to call out Jason Burns, then go and take him for a pint and have a debate and discussion with him. But don't go down inciting people, even if you didn't mean it to nearly end up in violence. It was still irresponsible of you. Don't be going doing that. Go and talk to the guy in the pub. If you've got accusations against Jason that are really, really serious, then keep it quiet and go to the police. Don't make a big drama out of it and make it in public, because if you do, the guy could be assaulted. The atheist community have a responsibility to stand up for democracy and free speech. And you have a responsibility. Jason Burns is democratic free speech. And one or two atheist groups have got in contact with me, and they've made it clear to me that they do not agree with the kind of behaviour that's gone on against me. And they've made it clear that they want me part of the conversation. They've made it clear that they want to hear my voice and discuss about historical Jesus studies or whatever other ideas that I have. They've made it clear that they feel that I have something to give in the debate and discussion, and that gives me great heart and great cheer. It gives me great heart and it gives me great cheer. Like I said, these individuals who went over the bounds, I forgive them and I forget. And I want you to forgive them and I want you to forget. Individuals, we can meet in a pub one day in Manchester and have a pint together and just laugh this whole thing off. But it's no laughing matter if I have had to close a channel down because I feel that my voice in that area is too difficult to speak in that area. And that's a responsibility that you have to address as atheists, whether militant or not. So that's about atheism and my story about where I'm at. I think it's been good for me to get away from these groups. I'm much happier, and I'm really back now. I've been able to relax. I've made a few videos on other topics, but I've been able to really, really relax and just chill out. So, you know, I feel refreshed in that area. I do recognise I need to stay away from YouTube for a while. That I have been unbalanced. I have been addictive and things like that. I know that. And you know, my sister has said the same, and I know that, and I need to do that. And I have been doing. I don't make videos like I used to, and I do enjoy doing the scholarly stuff. I do enjoy making videos. But yesterday I was out in another city. I was doing evangelism. I spent the whole day out, so I am being productive and stuff like that. But I do feel that it's very easy. I know that some of these atheist groups feel embattled in America, that they're outnumbered in America, and I can understand why they push and push and push, and I can understand that many of my videos will get them angry. I can understand that. But I want Christians and atheists to realize that my issue was never atheism. I never really had an issue with atheism. Whenever I was making videos and commentating on atheism, I was thinking more in terms of the Hitchens, the Harrises, the Dawkins. It was a kind of militant atheism that I was taking on. But I can understand that many atheists, even these other atheists, would get angry and upset at the things I was saying. But I only said it because I felt and that's why I was doing it. I wasn't the best at it. I wasn't well at times because I was depressed sometimes, and I was unbalanced at times, doing too many videos all the time. I lost my temper a few times I shouldn't have done, and I take that on board, and I apologise for those things. But my genuine desire was to take on something that I felt was a danger to democracy. Now you might turn around to me and say, well, you're a bigot, you're homophobic, you're this, that, and whatever. Well, that's okay. But at least you've got a channel that you can say that about me. But I haven't got a channel that I can say things about you. And there's the difference. Again, you've got a channel that you can use to critique and attack me. But I have not got a channel to use to critique and attack, if I wanted to, atheism. And there's the rub. You have the freedom in that area, I don't. Now, I don't think this issue is going to be addressed by the atheist community. I don't think you're going to take the archive channels down. I don't think you're going to do that. I don't think these individuals will stop in terms of their program against me, whatever in the future. I don't know. But whatever the case, I'm not involved in militant atheism anymore. I'm just preaching the Bible, and I'm teaching apologetics, and I will take a break from YouTube, and I will come back. I will do my preaching videos, and I'll just get on. But always remember that if I do go on some atheist shows, I will remind people. I won't mention militant atheism, but I will remind them and say, you do realise I don't have a channel now on atheism. And I'll just gently remind people that I don't have freedom of speech in that area. But I do appreciate some of the atheist groups that did contact me recently and invited me on their shows. Some of these are well-known atheists, famous atheists, and I appreciate that they have got in touch and that they are supportive of me having a voice. And I hope in a few weeks' time, months' time, that I come back and we can talk about historical Jesus studies and philosophy and stuff like that. And for me, I'm just telling you this story because my channel's down and I want you to know my side because I don't have a channel. But it's in no way, I don't want you to think that I'm trying to get at this guy on the bike. I hope he's happy. I hope he has a great life. Or the person who threw accusation at me, or the person who's been blogging about my mental illness or whatever. I haven't got it in for them. I don't wish them any harm or anything. I just want them to be happy and blessed. But it's only fair if my channel's gone down that you get my side of things. It's only fair that my voice is heard. And I just think it's a symptom of Western democracy. I think it's a case of might is right. It's a case of those groups who are able, savvy on the internet, and work together, plug together, can silence someone else's free speech. And we see that on a larger scale with politicians, and we've seen it with these militant groups. And I just wanted people to know that as far as I'm concerned, that I don't blame all atheists. I do think there are many decent atheists out there, but I do think that I don't have the confidence in democracy at all. I think democracy is a very fragile thing, and I think it's declining. And I think we see that all over the place these days. So those are my thoughts anyway. Like I said, my channel's down, so people can say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, my voice is gone. My ideas about atheism and about how I see things is gone in that area. But in an ironical way, I'm much happier. The stress levels now have gone. I don't feel stressed anymore. Because the tension, the mental tension that I was really being pounded quite a lot, being targeted by these groups. It was a big pounding that I took recently. And like I said, I want to say that I made mistakes. I'm not saying I was perfect. I shouldn't have lost my temper, lady, that I said. I shouldn't have said some of the things that I said about R&R and non-stamp collector. I didn't say the things that the person on the bike said, but I shouldn't have said other things that I said. You know, and I made mistakes, and I didn't do things in the right way. It was not loving, and it was excessive. It was many videos, and there was an imbalance there. And at times I was not well, not as bad as this individual makes, and there was a time where I did need to take a break, and I do need to take a break, and so in a way all this works out for good. I just hope that in a few weeks and months' time, preach and teach the Bible on YouTube, and I just hope that all these people, militant atheists, I just hope that we can build bridges and be friends, genuine friends, and also to all the other atheist groups and some of the atheist groups that have invited me, that we could start again. I know that's going to be hard for a lot of people to put the past behind. But I hope that I'm asking, I suppose in a way I'm asking as well for these groups, militant groups. They might not see themselves as that, but I'm asking the atheist community as a whole to give me a chance, to forgive me for any mistakes that I've made, and to give me a chance in the future, to get to know you as friends and to talk to you on a one-to-one basis in a friendly way, with respect, and to engage with each other with respect. And I'm asking the atheist community to give me that chance. I know that a couple of atheist groups have contacted me, but I hope I could have a wider dialogue with atheism in the future and come on shows and bring to you the reading and the scholarship that I'm going to be doing in the next few weeks and months ahead, and give me a chance to prove myself to you that I have got things to say, if you would only let me come and talk with you. And I hope that after I've been on one or two shows that you invite me to other shows. And I hope this issue about these archive channels can be resolved. And I hope that it's made ahead. Because in the end, I don't think these individual militant groups, to be honest, really want to be tainted with that. And it's not in their interest to be tainted with that. So it's in everybody's interest that we try to work together, that we try to build bridges, that we try to be fair to one another and try to listen to one another. And so I hope that there might be a change in the atheist community when I come back, of a desire to engage and to debate and discuss with me. I'll be bringing to the table a passion for history and a passion for philosophy and a passion for theology. That's what I'll be bringing to the table. And I'll be very interested to know what you bring to the table. Democracy can only be healthy if there's dialogue, genuine, honest dialogue, and respectful dialogue. And I'm committed to that, and I want to endorse that, and I want to be part of that. And again, I apologise to the atheist community for bashing atheism, even though I was bashing militant atheism. But I apologise that I bashed atheism incessantly for 3-4 years, and I really apologise that I went overboard on it and was unbalanced. And I apologise for that. And I would ask, please forgive me, because I didn't realise the full extent of perhaps the trauma that I was causing a number of atheists who were seeing atheism. But I genuinely did it because I felt there was an issue with this militant atheism. I'm sorry for losing my temper sometimes. I'm sorry for being angry. I'm sorry for some of the underhanded things that I said. And I apologise for that. So from my side, I'm committed to democracy. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in dialogue and discussion. And I hope that in the future that atheists will engage with me and dialogue with me. And that we can build up some really good friendships and genuine relationships. So the ball's in your court. There's no point in waging a war against me in any way, ideologically, or doing the kind of tactics that you've been doing, because I'm not going to give you the opportunity to do that, because I won't be making videos against atheism. So the old ways, the old tactics of dealing with Jason are not going to work anymore. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to be able to do that. But I just wanted to give you my opinion, my voice of what's said. Again, I don't wish any harm on any individual atheist or militant atheist who has caused me unending stress since Christmas. I don't wish anybody. I would would never prosecute anybody or anything, because it's not in my nature to do that. I would never want anybody to be so publicly humiliated that they could never be on YouTube again. But I just ask, fair's fair, and let's just be fair, and let's realise that if we don't dialogue and discuss, and if there isn't the freedom of speech, then the many videos that are made against militant atheism perhaps need to be stayed up, need to be kept up, because it needs to be shown that there isn't the freedom of speech. But if the atheist community online move into an area of dialogue and discussion, then my videos will be seen as a monument of extremism. But if the atheists keep the videos and don't debate me, then my videos will have been prophetic about what was going to happen in democracy in the future. Or maybe the truth is halfway, a bit on both sides. On an aside, I think that as a Christian, we had the local elections and we had the European elections, and I voted for my local MP, who's a Liberal Democrat. The Liberal Democrats, but because we have an unusually good MP who does a lot of good work locally. But then I voted UKIP for the European election. But I have to say that I'm disillusioned with politics, I'm disillusioned with democracy, I'm disillusioned with the hypocrisy of America. I love America, I love Americans, but the hypocrisy of the way America is calling out Russia, and when really it's all about the oil and the gas. I'm disillusioned with politics because I don't think the politicians in power in our country are reflecting our views of the ordinary people. And I feel that the freedom of Christianity is being curtailed slowly but surely in the West. I don't think Christian freedom is going to be here for much longer. I think freedom of for Christianity and freedom of worship and freedom to believe your own Christian faith, I believe, is being taken away by our own democracy. And that's what I think. I think I've come to a point of healing in my life, and I feel I've come to a point of full circle where I'm now going to be returning back to my roots. I'm now going to be preaching more. If I do come to YouTube, I will be preaching more and talking about lectures and preaching and teaching the Bible. I basically I just wanted to tell my story of why I pulled down my channel on atheism, and I just wanted to give my side of the story, because we've all got the atheist side, because they've got all these archive channels and all the videos that they make about me and stuff like that, and I just wanted my position known. Another good video to watch is The Wounded Prophet, that goes into a lot of the detail. But thinking about things, you know, sometimes things have to come to an head. And in a funny way, this has brought me back to my own calling, which is to preach the Bible, to preach the Word of God. So I hope there's no controversy from this video, because I don't want any controversy. This video's not been made for controversy. The video's just been made to say how I feel and what I think, and I will not be getting involved in any controversy or any drama of any sort whatsoever. I just want to quietly rest and then quietly come back and do some videos preaching. And from time to time have a debate with atheists, like an academic debate, and maybe from time to time appear on an atheist show and have a genuinely, with respect to those who want to give me respect as a Christian. I don't bear any grudges to any individual on YouTube, and I wish everybody on YouTube a blessing, and that goes to those who perhaps are not on my side in any way. So, is democracy declining? You answer the question. I think it is. I'm going to go and wish you all the best. If I can't have freedom of speech in the area of atheism, if those archive channels are still up and stop my freedom of speech, if there's continual taking away my freedom where I can't even dialogue or debate with atheists, if I can't even go into my town in the future, then we're definitely in decline as a democracy. I think things are going to change in the future. I think there'll be opportunities to talk with atheists. What happens when I go back into Manchester, I don't know. But that will be for some time yet. And at the moment, concentrate on my relationship with God and my faith, and take my eyes off atheism at the moment. But I wanted to tell you my story of why my freedom has been lost in that area at the present time. I have a funny feeling that there'll be some atheists will speak out and say that he should have his freedom of speech. He should be allowed to have a channel critiquing atheism. So here's the question to the atheist community. I ask all these atheists to answer this question. Dropout, Alex Borton, Jim Gardner, Cliff Jumper, Fiona, Thunderfox, Iron Ra, DPR Jones, Hogtie Champ, King Crocoduck, Live Life 8072, Negation of P, Essence of Thought, Bionic Dance, No Plum 99, Atheism TV, Sci-10 Theist. I ask every single one of you this question. Should Jason Burns be allowed to have a channel on atheism and to critique atheism or not? At the present time, he doesn't have a channel that operates where he regularly, weekly makes a video critiquing atheism. And he will not be having a channel to do so. But if he was to desire to do so, does he have the freedom to do that? Because at the moment, I don't have the freedom. That's why I closed my channel down. And if I don't have the freedom, is that not a symptom of the decline of Western democracy? I'll leave that with you to discuss and debate privately or publicly in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. And I'll be interested to hear what all of you think. Also, I asked atheism experience, non-stunker lecturer Matt Delunty. I even asked Richard Dawkins, I even asked Dan Barker, and I even asked what's his name? Sam Harris, Daniel Dennett, David Silverman, the Free Thought Foundation, or whatever it's called. Does Jason Burns have the right to a channel where he can critique atheism? Or no? He hasn't got the right at the moment. Well, over to you. I'm not going to be doing any videos on atheism again. And if I do get to engage with Atheist Online, it will be because you've invited me on a show to debate with you or discuss with you. But that won't be for quite a number of weeks now. Alright. So thank you for listening, and God bless to everybody. And I'm now going to get back to my old life of preaching the Word of God. And take care, and God bless you. Please mirror this video if you want to encourage democracy and freedom of speech. Be interesting to see your dialogue and discuss. Here's the question. Here's some questions. Do you think that the modern atheism is taking away people's freedom of speech? Do you think the modern atheism is bullying Christians and Christian apologists off YouTube? Do you think there is cyberbullying in the atheist community and Christian community online? Do you think that Christians are cyberbullying online? Do you think that Christians have taken away atheist freedom of speech? Are there any Christian groups that have targeted atheist apologists and silenced them? Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the Christians doing it to the atheists. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that democracy is in decline? Do you think Western democracy is in decline? Do you think Western democracy is healthy and strong? Do you think religion is perfectly free in America and in the UK to function as religious communities? Or do you think there are restrictions on religious freedom? Do you think that Western democratic leaders are leading democracies in a way that is making democracy healthy, or is actually bringing democracy in decline? Is democracy strong ideologically? Do we have good foundations in ideological thought about democracy? Or is democracy needing to be reevaluated with new parameters today? How is the internet aiding or not aiding Western democracy? What is the role of the individual in freedom of speech? What is the role of community in freedom of speech? What is the role of the internet in freedom of speech? How can freedom of speech be conducted on the internet in such a way that promotes democracy and not damages it? What criteria, what things do we need to know about or to have if we're going to be healthy and effective in being stewards of democracy? All these are questions that this video can promote. and a whole discussion and dialogue and debate. I hope Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Christians and atheists and agnostics enter the debate and the discussion. And I hope it sets a dialogue and discussion on the online. What do you think of it as a journalist? What do you think as a politician? What do you think as an artist? What do you think as the public, as a teacher, as a everyday person on these questions? As for my journey has come full circle. I have, because of this nearly breaking me, it's made me, I feel much more healed and much more balanced and stronger today, because I've found my inner self. I found the inner core of me. I found who I really am. I found that my calling is to preach the word of God. My calling is not to defend democracy. It's not to fight militant atheism. It's to preach the word of God. And I want to take the opportunity to say again that I am sorry if I let the Christians and atheists down in any way. I really am sorry. But today is the day I am. Today is who I am. Today I am Jason Burns. And I still am proud that I did, for all my craziness and all my mistakes, I was standing up, as far as I was concerned, to what I thought was a militant atheism, and still do, that was taking away people's freedom of speech. Was I wrong in that assessment? Was I right in that assessment? Does it need to be? Who knows? Feel free to make your comments under this video, and yeah. So I hope this video promotes discussion and debate and practical changes as well, both in my life and in the life of other people as well. So thank you for listening, and God bless you.